and to set the knowledge base and give some ideas to talk about and to network. For the rest of the day, I would like to welcome on the stage the speakers for this next part of the conference. And it is my honor to welcome on the stage for the keynote presentation. He's a Doctor of Economics, the Professor Emeritus of Vidzeme University of Applied Sciences, and the long-time CEO of Latvijas Mobilais telephones. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Juris Binde.
Good morning, everybody. Dear Mr. President of Skillman, dear Ms. Director of Polytechnical School, dear friends, it's my pleasure to introduce some visionary about how important skills are nowadays for society, for the businesses, for the development of the future. And people for all the times were trying to predict the future. Nostradamus, shamans, Vanga, Pavel, different other people are trying to predict the future based on different tools like astrologics and some other, but the future in fact is not thing that just happens, but it's something we are creating every single day by action or by inaction. And this is a very important statement, because many of the problems are created mainly because of inaction. Why do we need to build the future? Before we are talking about this extremely important question, very short introduction about Latvian mobile telephone company, the eldest and leading mobile telecommunications operator, which works in Latvia for more than 30 years, and it was a pleasure to manage this company from the first day. I was the first employee of the company in 1992. So, we are looking in the future, and it's quite clear that only pure telco operators will not survive, because most of the operators are very much afraid not to become a bit pipe, not only to become as a transmitters of the data streams, but at the same time very few of them are doing something not to be a bit pipe. And some 6-7 years ago, LMT decided that we have to change the paradigm, and we have to fill this big pipe with our own content, with our own services, with our own support. And that's why we started IT development, different software issues, and also as an IT integrator, because there is no company which is producing just full systems, but the systems are going to be integrated from different suppliers, from different vendors, and to create a common system. And on the top of that, we cannot create something new without research and development, and therefore the innovations based on R&D is the key driver for creating our future. The development of the technologies are always have been in some contradictions with development of society and with the development of businesses. Technologies are driven by people see, this curve is going up very fast. The society is not so fast, but nevertheless the society is still continuing with some gap to the technology's development, and we know that especially young people are very quickly and very fast are adapting to the new technologies, especially in the digitalized environment. At the same time, business is very slow. The gap between the development of the technologies and the development of overall business, except technological businesses, is always quite big. And it's a fact, but it's not good, because the development and this digital determinism says that this will be not the strongest or the smartest who will survive in this digital environment, in this progress run, but those who can adapt to the changes faster than others. They will survive and they will be on the competitive edge in comparison with others. So far, the human progress and the technologies were developing with quite steady up, but there were no too much revolutionary jumps up or down. But we are just few steps from the moment when there will be the new discovery which can completely change the development of the society, of the technologies, of even the world. And one of such changes or innovations arose some year ago when everybody was talking about the artificial intelligence. It was for quite a long time, but then suddenly ChatGPT came up, and everybody became influenced. Somebody was worried, somebody was relaxed, someone saw that it's some danger, but now we are a little bit more than 1 year from the moment when ChatGPT arose, and so this hype went down. So, because people found out that this is just a computer program which is gathering a big amount of data, on a basis of this data, creating something. And of course there are things where this artificial intelligence can be used, for instance, to generate some standard answers for some purposes and standard texts and so on. But there is a difference between artificial intelligence and intelligence, because artificial intelligence cannot create new things, innovations, but it can create something only on a basis of the existing knowledge. People's brain can imagine things what never happened forever. Just, it was not before, and maybe it will not be in the future. People can imagine everything. The artificial intelligence cannot, so far. So there are other things in the pipeline which can change significantly the life. It's quantum computing, because it's really new one, because normally we are using two-level computing 1, 0. This will use more and coding, and therefore it can give the opportunity to create supercomputers with a superpower. But so far it's not realized in the technologies, except maybe some encryption and so on. Another and this is an issue which definitely will change the life. Another issue is low temperature nuclear synthesis, which can be a source for the unlimited amount of energy, small, compact, which can be installed and used in every place. To my knowledge, I see these two issues as dramatically changing factors. During the history, there were always a difference between development of the technologies and the social social relations and also the skills. And technologies, as a red line, always is developing faster. Then there is some flat period, and then there is a next level, and so on. At the same time, the universal public schooling and the skills for the society are acquired significantly slower. And when the gap between the knowledge of the society and the development of technologies is increasing, there are always a social pain. Because people who do not understand the technologies, they have difficulties to adapt to these new technologies, and they are feeling not involved and not adopted in all over the processes. But with timing, the knowledge is acquired by more and more people, and in many cases it's also generating the new knowledge. And then, if the volume of the knowledge and skills is exceeding the level of the technology, then the society is experiencing some period of prosperity. But the cycle is continuing, and the new technology is now coming up, and the knowledge is not acquired as fast, and again there is a social pain. And therefore, nowadays, with the digital revolution, the development is so fast that these changes and these gaps are arising and have to be closed very, very fast. The life has significantly changed because in the past we have very steady sequence of different situations. You started education, we started education, then we went to work, then we worked, and then we retired, and that's it. So nowadays, the education, work, leisure, it's all in the one block. You have to educate all the time because work requires, and especially the development of the technologies, requests you to acquire new knowledge, to permanently study, and if we and our parents graduated from one school or from one university and could work in the one on the one position or in one enterprise for tens of years, today it's impossible because many professions are simply disappearing. And this is one of the issues where the artificial intelligence is also making its attacks. There will be professions which will disappear simply. So significant part of the technological and social development are innovations, and not to say nowadays, but let's say 10 years ago, the status quo was a slow, steady developing environment, planning and forecasting and incremental improvement and adaptation. But in the future, the environment is more and more unpredictable. The change is our daily habit and environment, and new operating models are arising. And here is one example between two managerial or business models. Okay, you can see on another. So another screen. So there are two models. There is an old one, managerial, and entrepreneurial, and or effectuation. In the first one is the selecting of the different means which are predetermined, and the company's management is getting the tasks, the goals, and fulfilling them. The entrepreneurial or effectuations approach is motivating for the innovations, because you are gathering all the means what you have, the means you can attract, and then you are creating the innovative then you are creating something new what was not before. So in former times the assets were the buildings, finance, people. Now it's changing, that as an asset is access to ecosystem, access to networking and so on. Structures and hierarchies are replaced by network structures, by grid structures. Knowledge economy is moving more to the collaborative economy. And predictability and control is more depending on the decision-making speed and flexibility. So Richard Foreman stated that there are two types of people. In the old good times, there were more cathedral-like people which were building their knowledge on layer by layer. Their knowledge was complex and dense. They were highly educated and articulate personality with a complex inner density. Today's digital society allows to get some information, not knowledge, in the distance of from one or few clicks. So, and these people have very wide but not deep knowledge, and therefore Richard Foreman is calling these people like a pancake people. So yeah, and of course it's there are different reasons. First of all, it's a digital environment where you can get a lot of information very, very fast. At the same time, the big information flow also is making pressure on people. So, and just coming to the finish of my presentation, we are moving from industry 1.0 to industry 4.0, and education started also from the first industrial revolution, when basically the technological equipment was introduced, and there were no necessity for the education. It was some kind of the luxury for the rich people. It was enough to be the qualified worker. On the second industrial revolution, it was necessary to read and to write in order to fulfill some instructions and technological process, and this was the education 0.0. Employees with ability to think systematically was required by the third industrial revolution, when the industrial robots, the automatical computing lines were implemented. and the amount of knowledge and skills required also is requesting to change the education system. But unfortunately, during the Industry 4.0, our education in many cases stayed on education 0.0. So, and of course, we cannot teach today the same way you did yesterday, because we are preparing the students for tomorrow, and this is also one of the mottos for Skillman's conferences. So there are some projects what we created together with our partners, but so considering that time is running out, I will not stop on that. But I like very much this statement that if we don't have natural intelligence, artificial will not help us. Thank you very much.